Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. Over the course of this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts and feelings on episode 4 of Naked and Afraid XL Frozen. And for this video, I'll be giving my episode breakdown, as well as provide commentary for the 4 remaining groups and the progress that they made for the episode. So without any further delay, let's jump into this review. Episode 4 of Naked and Afraid Frozen covers days 8, 9, and 10 of the 14-day challenge. This episode picks up with the aftermath of the freezing rainstorm from last episode, and we also see how the groups fare as they search for food and handle some of the coldest temperatures that they've seen since entering the challenge. Speaking of the groups, let's first talk about the group that had the highest FSR from last week's episode: Kai, Joe, and Gabby. I will say that not much is really shown with this group for this episode. We see medics from the show coming to pay Joe a visit, and they take his vitals. They find that Joe has an elevated heart rate, and they give him advice on what he needs to do to bring it down. Joe tries to follow the advice the best that he can, but he's also extremely hungry, and he wants to feel like he's contributing to his team. And if I were Joe, I would feel the same type of way. In my opinion, Gabby and Kai have done most of the heavy lifting for the team, which wasn't any of Joe's fault, but as a man on a team full of women, Joe wants to pull his weight. Sadly, the medics come back to check Joe's vitals on 2 different occasions, and his heart rate only got worse. And as a result, the producer decides to medically tap Joe out. Now, in my opinion, Joe has nothing to be ashamed of with this tap out. He did the best that he could, and I will say that he did not take the easy way out like Trish has seemingly done this whole season. But as a result of tapping out, the group's FSR drops from 76% to 59%. Now, I still feel that Gabby and Kai have what it takes to complete the challenge, but if things get too tough for them, I won't look at them any different if they tap out. Next, there's Jake, Sarah, and Waz. In this episode, we get to see the group focusing on hunting. Jake goes squirrel hunting, Waz builds a trap to catch crawfish, and Sarah builds a rabbit trap, which seems to be 10 times more elaborate than the trap that Jermaine built last episode. Now, what I deemed to be a head-scratching moment for this episode was seeing Jake stumble across a coyote that had seemingly died of natural causes. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to fellow YouTuber Fendi King. He left a comment on another review that I had about Jake carrying an animal on his back. And when I read the comment, I knew that there was no way that any of the cast members had the strength or the tools to catch and kill any animals of that size. But what are the odds of Jake stumbling across a dead coyote and no other animal managed to eat it? I mean, come on. And Jake really doesn't know how the coyote died. Nevertheless, Jake and the group make 2 meals out of the coyote, and their FSR jumps from 69% to 78%. Truth be told, I think that this meal may be enough to carry the group all the way to the 14-day challenge. And just as I mentioned in the first episode, this group seems to be a well-oiled machine. Next, we have Wes, Jermaine, and Sarah. Now, last episode, there was some major tension between Jermaine and Sarah. But at the start of this episode, medics check Sarah, and they find that she has high blood pressure and a high pulse rate. Sarah takes it easy while Wes and Jermaine step up the hunt and reinforce the shelter. Now, what I liked most about this group was despite last week's challenges, the group was able to pull together and rise to the occasion. Jermaine definitely comes in clutch and not only finds mullein for Sarah to use as medicine, but he also collects a number of prickly pears and cooks them for the group to eat. Now, while the group's FSR score remains the same from last episode, I was just really impressed with how the group came together, and I have no doubts that they have what it takes to finish the challenge. And lastly, we have Trish and Jeremy. The scenes with this group were frustrating to watch, because Jeremy essentially was doing more than his fair share, while Trish was just coasting and sticking to her duty of keeping the fire going. In this episode, Jeremy finishes building the shelter by himself while sick with a possible bladder infection. Trish finally volunteers to go hunting, and she stumbles across some cattail, but the ground is too firm for them to dig it up, and Jeremy tries to set the top of the vegetation on fire, but it didn't really help the situation. By the end of the episode, the group's FSR drops from 23% to 19%, and there is a chance that the group may finish the challenge without eating any food, which is insane if you ask me. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give this episode a 6. I'm not completely sold on Jake finding the dead coyote by pure luck, and I'm not sure how Trish and Jeremy will survive this environment without eating anything. But at this point, I'm just rolling with it, and I want to see how the season ends. But this marks the end of my review. If you have any questions or comments related to the episode or my review, feel free to leave them below in the comment section, and I'll reply to everyone. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.